for the remainder of the special commission meeting. We've already finished SP1. We are in the middle of SP2 discussion on city-owned marinas. Before we get back into Mr. Barcena's presentation, we have a special guest with us, our Commissioner of the Florida Inland Navigation District, Mr. Spencer Crowley. The Fine Commission is a very generous partner with the City of Miami with waterfront and water access projects. So I'd love to hear from you, Mr. Crowley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Spencer Crowley, 98 Southeast 7th Street. For the record, I live and work in Miami, also boat in Miami. I'm here today in my capacity as the Miami-Dade County Commissioner to Florida Inland Navigation District. Apologies for not being able to make it this morning, but I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to just say a few words. I think most of you are familiar with FIND, but real briefly as a recap, we are the non-federal sponsor for the Intracoastal Waterway Project. So that is a federally authorized project that runs from the St. Mary's River north of Jacksonville all the way down to the Keys. And we help the Army Corps maintain that so that it's navigable for vessels. So we do a lot of dredging around our ocean inlets. Here in Miami-Dade County, the only place we really have to dredge is up at Haulover. That flood shoal is constantly going into the Intracoastal Waterway, so we have to dredge it every 3 years to make sure that it's navigable for big vessels that want to come down here and spend a lot of money. More relevant to the discussion today, FIND also has a grant program, and we provide government agencies with grant funding for projects that increase public access to the waterfront. So mostly our grants here go to City of Miami and Miami-Dade County. We do have some grants that go to state agencies like FWC, and in some cases we have federal agencies like Biscayne National Park who could also apply for our grant funding. Really the idea is to help use some of our money to make the waterfront more publicly accessible to those who don't live right on the waterway. So through that grant program, we've provided the city with $40 million towards its public marinas and public access projects. That's funded over 100 projects with a value of over $100 million in total. Our contribution to that was about $40 million. Specific to marinas and mooring fields and boat ramps, we've done 25 projects with the city. The value of those projects is about $20 million, and we put in $10 million. So it's a partnership that we're proud of. We like supporting the city's marinas. Obviously, access to the waterfront is very difficult these days, and we want to do as much as we can for the people who don't live on the water, who have their boat trailered in Alapata, Little Havana, Flagami. We got to get them access to the water, and so that's really what we try to do. So anyway, that's sort of a high-level outline of FIND and what we do. Just real quick, and then I'll wrap it up. I do just have a couple of thoughts about this discussion today, and unfortunately I didn't see the discussion this morning, but from my perspective, one thing that's very, very important is that the city makes sure that it's funding law enforcement appropriately. There's a huge area to cover out in Biscayne Bay. Our officers and our law enforcement do a great job. There's just not enough of them, and we really need to make sure that they have the resources necessary to patrol the waterways in an effective way. So one thing I can do to help is provide grant funding for vessels, for law enforcement vessels. We can't help fund patrols, but we can help fund those vessels. So please come to us, let us help. This grant cycle, we're actually helping Miami-Dade County with their Marine Patrol. So it's something we can definitely help with. Another issue is related to derelict vessels. We really need to work, I think, better and more efficiently to handle derelict vessels. I think it's something that can be done. There's other jurisdictions within our district that do it well. We have grant funding to help with that. So we have a small scale program that's $30,000. It's almost automatic. And then we can do 50% of any large-scale derelict vessel removal that the city may have. So it's something to keep in mind. Please come to use our programs for that. And the last thing I'll say relates to the Marine Stadium Basin specifically. And I'm not sure if the other commissioners know this, but back in October of 2019, our board considered the issues and the problems that are existing in Marine Stadium Basin right now. I don't want to go into the details of it. I think it was touched on today, but needless to say, it's important to us. The safety of everyone is important to us, and right now that basin is out of control. We passed a resolution that I'm going to hand out to you all. I'd like you to please look at it and hopefully use us, work with us to try to help. The idea of the resolution is it basically sets up a process where we can develop some sort of structure in the basin so that we have access for cruisers who need to navigate and anchor in that area. We suggested setting aside an area for rowers so they have their area. The mooring field will generate revenue. That revenue could be used to increase law enforcement. And of course, all of that would help with the derelict vessel problem in the basin. So that's really all I wanted to say today. Thank you for the time, Mr. Chair, and indulging me. And I'll provide this information to the clerks and so she can distribute it to you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Any questions for Spencer? Thank you. Just a bit of housekeeping before we get into the presentation. From time constraints, I know we're going to not take up the CRA agenda this afternoon. We simply won't have the time. We have 11 great items on there, but I have talked with the director, and he is open to rescheduling it, and he'll be reaching out to each of the offices to do that. So I don't believe there's a necessary action of the commission to move that. So all we have left today is to finish up our discussion on city-owned marinas and any directions we have for the manager. So, Anthony? You're welcome to continue. We left off with Rickenbacker Marina, and how many do we have left?
I believe just one more, and then I just go over the figures at the end. So,
Rickenbacker, what else?
Miami Yacht Club.
Miami Yacht Club, Miami Outboard Club.
And Watson Island Mooring Field, and that's it.
Got it. Floor is yours.
All right. I was going to say thank you, Spencer Crowley, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of our projects. So, the fine commissioner. So
it's very true, and I'd like to get an ongoing derelict vessel program because what we have right now is kind of squeaky wheel. We hit it really hard for a short time, and then it adds up again. Whether we have to have a vendor on contract regularly, someone's already raising their hand out there, who would just pick up as needed, and that way we're not waiting for them to stack up, and we hear from the residents and the boaters, and it's dangerous. And then it sounds like fine will cover half the bill, so that's great.
we would be more than welcome for your support. And thank you.
Thank you. So if you could bring a proposal or through the manager, that'd be great.
Cool. Okay, so Rickenbacker Marina. So Rickenbacker, the current status is privately operated. The expansion opportunity right now, it's in a lease is expired, so right now it's in a holdover tenancy via settlement agreement. The permitted wet slips and dry storage is 190 wet slips. They're permitted for 8 commercial. 378 dry slips, and 20 liveaboards. Fiscal year 2019, they gave us $2.3 million, and that included the supplemental rent of $1.2 million. And the projected NOI, based on the proposed rate increase and then expenses for additional personnel, would be $4.97 million.
Any questions for Mr. Barcena on the Rickenbacker Marina? None? What do you got next?
Okay, perfect. Next slide. Miami Yacht Club. Again, this is privately operated. The lease is exactly kind of parallel to the Coconut Grove Sailing Club. They're on their second 5-year exclusive. Lease expires in 2026. Permitted wet slip dry storage is 40 wet slips, 172 dry slips. Fiscal year 2019, they gave us $128,000. Anticipated capital improvements, construction, additional slips to fill in the permanent capacity, and the restoration of the current facilities. I don't know if you all been to Miami Yacht Club lately. Projected NOI is $903,000, and that's excluding the restaurant and bar that they have over there as well.
What is our agreement with them for the Marine Patrol station that's there?
With Marine Patrol, Marine Patrol has their offices, their current agreement, they give us a little bit of space for Marine Patrol to kind of utilize their offices.
So they don't invest in it, in
No,
the upkeep,
that's Marine
maintenance, or
Patrol.
anything? It's just space for our Marine Patrol?
Correct, yes, sir.
Because I understand there's been at least one incident of conflict between members of the yacht club and our Marine Patrol there, one of which ended up in a $100,000 settlement that we paid out in last month's meeting. Is it an appropriate mix there for us to have our Marine Patrol and the yacht club, or what's the conflict there?
I'll leave that as a legal question, since it was a lawsuit.
He's asking if the two uses
I mean,
mesh.
I don't really see an issue, but, yeah, I mean, since it was a lawsuit, I don't know if I'm able to kind of like go into a little bit more detail and my opinion on it.
So, Commissioner, I don't know if the two uses at this current location are problematic. I know that in this particular instance, when we settled this lawsuit, there was a individual that frequents the yacht club, and there was a dispute over the placement of the Marine Patrol. So I don't know if there's other situations that have happened in the past with regard to that.
But for the offices, I think that's the perfect location for Marine Patrol because it's centrally located in Biscayne Bay, and it's really open access to go anywhere. It's a really great location for them, and I don't think they have any issues being at that location.
You would think it would be good for us as well, and for that area, just to have additional security and boat safety. You think they would welcome it. But my understanding from my briefing on that settlement was the member of the yacht club spit on one of our officers. They got in a fight, and obviously we ended up paying out a settlement worth almost the rent that they paid us for the last year. So that's a little concerning for me.
Yes, sir.
But their lease has expired at this point. Am I not mistaken? They're looking for the extension on the lease.
The 5-year, yeah. Well, they have exclusive, and I don't think they're in default. Last time I checked, I don't think they're in default, so they have the right for the second 5-year option. It was voted on by the commission, so the lease expires in 2026.
Got it. And what is the history through which this marina was granted the lease? Was there a referendum or a 29D exception?
I have to look back on that.
You don't know, Madam City Attorney?
It depends what year. When was the year of the original lease? Do you remember?
Excuse me, I'm sorry?
The year of the original lease?
The year of the original lease, so 5 years prior to the, I have to get back to you on that. I believe it was 2015?
Right. I think this was before the 29B.
Really?
1997 was the original lease.
Okay, so if that's before the original 29B.
The
So does that mean it would have gone to the voters?
No, it wouldn't have. I don't think so.
Got it.
That was in 2000, I believe, that
No,
original.
I'd love to understand the history of that. Doesn't have to be today. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Barcena on the Miami Yacht Club?
When is the lease, if the lease is expired?
So they're at the end of their lease, but they have a unilateral trigger for extension if they want it for another 5 years, unless they're
But
in
we have to
default.
decide if we accept it or not?
We don't. Apparently, it's unilateral from their side if they're not in default. I have not studied their lease to
So
understand.
we cannot kick them out of there.
We're going to look at the lease.
Okay, I think that we should look at the lease. And also, you see, well, let's look at the lease. This is a perfect place for a permanent dockage for the the boats that you see that we have and those fire boats, you see? So we can just keep them there, and with the Marine Patrol is also there. And, but let's look at it, because
Absolutely.
I believe that this is one that I believe we should keep all of them, manage it ourselves, and play by ear. See how we're gonna do, how we're doing it, and if we need funds for further improvement, maybe we can find somebody that will partnership with us. But one thing that I am totally opposing are on those long-term leases that they are 20, 15 years and all that. I think that we should give it a try. I have been saying that since day one. I've been very, very much in favor of the city, and I know that we're capable of it. And I would like to know, Zurich, what is the administration recommendation on this?
Good afternoon, Mr. Commissioner. The administration has not firmed up the final recommendation. I will revert back to the manager, and we'll get back to you perhaps tomorrow morning.
Oh, the manager is not, when he comes, you see, from what I do understand, I think that I'm not the only one that believes that we should keep it, keep all of them.
I couldn't hear you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions on the Miami Yacht Club?
And just a quick add-on, Miami Yacht Club also has a restaurant bar, just like the Coconut Grove Sailing Club. So there's also a potential revenue that's not included in here as well, so.
Yeah.
All right. Next slide. The membership dues, I do not know, but I know there's a member here from from the Miami Yacht Club. Maybe he can explain to it.
Coconut Grove.
The membership dues for Miami Yacht Club? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's.
Could you go back one slide just to have it up?
Okay, no, not a problem.
Good afternoon.
Hi, my name is Dave Coster. You have a question regarding membership dues?
Commissioner Carrillo.
Yes.
Which club?
What is your membership fee here?
The membership dues at Miami Yacht Club? There are 140.
Chair, I'm sorry, can the speaker get closer to the mic? I just cannot hear.
We can't hear you. Just a little closer.
I believe it's $140, 140 something
A month?
for membership dues.
A
Now,
month?
at times, there's initiation fees, assessments, and other things.
$140 per what period of time?
Per month.
And the assessment or initiation fee that you mentioned, how much is it to get in?
Yeah,
the
the
first?
assessments vary based on the fact, well, what needs are on the property, but initiation fees are $2,800.
$2,800.
Pardon?
$2,800.
$2,800 a one-time fee for initiation fee.
It's through the chair question. You said that the rent is 140, regardless of the size of the boat?
No, that's not talking about a boat. That's irrelevant to the boat size.
I mean, you're
That's
talking
just
the fees, you know?
That's just a membership.
Oh, that's a.
That's just a membership,
But then
no.
you charge.
There's
fees
different
for-
fees. In fact, looking at this is, unfortunately, this is some incorrect information in terms of the number of slips we have. It's
A
off
little
by-
closer to the mic, please.
This, I'm looking at, as long as we're on the subject, this is actually not correct in terms of the number of slips we have. That's,
What's correct?
well, we actually have less wet slips and quite a bit less dry slips.
I believe this is the permitted capacity, not the actual. Yep,
That's the permitted capacity?
yeah, it says
Okay,
permitted wet slip dry storage, so that's what would be allowed to be built by permit.
interesting, okay, all right.
Are you a member of this club?
I am.
How many of your members are City of Miami residents? What percent about?
I'm not exactly sure. I didn't come here to speak on behalf of this
Okay.
issue, so I did not show up here prepared to discuss this.
I could understand that.
I was asked because
Can
someone
we get the
recognized me as a
information?
member. I'm sorry?
Can we get that information to see where your residents?
Yes,
are
I
from?
believe all that was provided in a recent audit that was just approved through the city. So I saw the results of that, and everything was favorable, and that was all approved, and all the information is in there.
Mr. Barsana, do we have that from them? Yes, we'll send you another copy. Well, can you just break it down for us? How many of their members live in the city of Miami versus those that don't?
I don't know if they have their addresses in the audit.
Okay, go to the mic, I can't.
We need you at a mic, Mr. Barcena. I would imagine the audit did not cover.
I don't believe they have their addresses on the
imagine.
audit, but I can most certainly work with the club and see if
Yeah.
I can pull.
Well,
some-
We could provide some of that information in detail.
What I'm trying to show here is that the city of Miami has been losing millions of dollars in revenues throughout the years through providing our best lands to private institutions that service very little the residents of our city. How many residents do you have in your district, Commissioner Watson, that can afford a $2,800 a month, a $2,800 initiation fee and then pay $140 a month? I don't think you got too
Very
many.
few.
I certainly don't have that many in my district. I don't think Commissioner Diaz-Portilla has many. I don't think Commissioner Reyes has many. Even in Commissioner Russell's district, it's the most affluent district of our city. You know, they're not going to be lining up for $2,800 a month.
It's not $2,800 a month.
Excuse me.
And just to
initiation
clarify
fee.
that, those rates were
$2,800
increased to
initiation.
subsidize the youth sailing programs, the veteran sailing programs, and all the Olympic programs.
Yeah,
So that's why those rates were increased,
Okay.
so the members subsidize all those community programs that take place there.
I understand that everybody tells us how much great and good they're doing for our kids and the Olympic program. We got, I don't know how many acres that we gave the Olympic program here that they have also. The bottom line is that if we had to city use for the city to get direct revenue, so many of these properties that we have across the waterfront, some not in the waterfront, we'd be talking about millions of dollars in addition that we'd be having in our city budget. But they have a lease for a certain time if they're current, and we certainly will respect it if they're current.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, Chair, if we get the speaker's name,
He did say it into the record, but maybe you
I
didn't
missed
hear
it. My
One more
apologies.
time, your name, please.
My name is Dave Coster.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I ask just a quick question again? Mr. Coster was surprised at the numbers that was listed on the presentation. So are the assumptions made on the allowable amount of permitted slips? Because he was surprised, and I've heard the argument that people are waiting. So what's the difference in what we're looking at, and what are your numbers based on?
So every marina gets it's an MOP. It's an acronym for Marina Operating Permit. And Miami Yacht Club is permitted for these amount of slips. So I don't, they probably have something smaller, but they're allowed to have 40 wet slips and 172 dry slips.
But the NOI you've projected is as if we built out to the maximum permitted?
Absolutely.
So it's not under the infrastructure that's there today?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay,
this
so
is
it's a little not apples to oranges, but I
Yeah,
get
so
what
yeah,
you're
I'll explain
saying.
that. We have to do a little bit of infrastructure in that. And
Does that answer your question, Commissioner? Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. Thank you. Next one?
Next slide. It's Watson Island Mooring Field. Right now, it's actually currently in progress. This is actually right in front of the Miami Yacht Club. We're looking at a completion date in the late fall of 2021. We're deploying 100 mooring balls, and the projected NOI is $344,000 a year. And this is based on the proposed rate increase.
Got it.
Okay.
Any questions on the mooring field? Nope. Thank you, Mr. Barcena. Next.
And then, right now, we're looking at the capital projects. So this is right here on the bottom, like you see, we have the Miami Yacht Club at $1.5 million. So we're looking at the capital project proposed and the repayment of these capital projects. Pretty straightforward. Miami Marina, we're looking at grading. That's going to approximately cost us $750,000. Marine Stadium Marina, we're looking for additional dry slips and concrete flooring. It cost us about $1 million. Marine Stadium mooring field is $315,000 to construct, and that's the asterisk you see there is the half of it will be by fined of Spencer Crowley from earlier. And then Miami Yacht Club will be the wet slip repair and reconstruction. Will probably cost us about $1.5 million.
Did I miss the rowing club in your presentation, or,
Oh, the rowing club is not in my presentation.
excuse me, is that,
Where isn't the rowing club?
why isn't that in the presentation?
Because we're talking strictly for marinas right now. So, and the rowing club doesn't have a marina, but
Is it a lease of City of Miami land?
Yes, it is. It is.
When is that up?
Where is it? I'm sorry.
When is it up?
When is it up? The lease? I believe it's a holdover. I believe. Yeah, I believe it's a holdover, like, kind of like what they have at Rickenbacker.
So it does not have a lease?
No, it's right now in a current holdover. I can
Month
give
to
you-
month?
Month to month, yes, sir. So I can get you the specifics, as the conclusion of this meeting.
Is there any other venue in any of these places that are holdover month-to-month leases?
Right now that I'm presenting, no, not right, what I have right here in
There's
front
no
of me.
restaurant or anything in any
Oh,
other?
restaurant? I can get you,
Any venue,
okay,
any establishment or location
Understood.
that has a holdover month-to-month lease?
understood. I can get you that list. I have
Are there, off the top of your head, do you know?
off the
any?
off the top of my head, I believe there is a restaurant on Virginia Key that is on a holdover as well. But I'll be more than happy to share that list of all the leases that are in holdover. I don't have that in front of me.
You don't want to mess with it. It's a family, it's an admirer of yours.
I'm aware who they are, but there's also a whole bunch of, 17 years I think they've been there, right? And there's also a whole bunch of other places, right? Little shop there, Rickenbacker too, and there's a couple of other places.
Yeah, there are a few with holdovers, and yeah, I'd be more than happy to, my apologies, I wasn't
And the
prepared
rowing
for that,
club.
so I can definitely get that.
The rowing club, how much do they pay a month?
The rowing club is, do you have those numbers right in front of you? The rowing club, I can get that for you. Right now, it's like, the rowing club is actually, it's like a parks building, but,
So it's not managed by Dream, it's a Parks amenity.
it's a parks building, but
That's
I can get you the figures for that, for the rowing club and what they pay.
Okay, you don't know it off the top of your
Off the
head?
top of my head, I can't throw a number for you, sir.
See, we got to
Okay.
start our own club, the Five Guys Club. You know, we could get waterfront land, you know, we could do initiations, all kinds of,
I don't have a boat. Who has a boat?
yeah.
And pay like,
I'll take a kayak.
and pay like $2,500 a month or something like that.
But yes, I'll get you those, the leases. I don't have those presented for the marina, so I'll get that to your office as well.
Thank you. I mean, the bottom line is we have to decide from a policy perspective, which of these assets are meant to be a service to the community, like a parks amenity, which are meant to be big money generators that we really want to count on to our bottom line, and how they should be managed. I think that was the crux of this whole discussion, is whether or not we should stay status quo. We have some that are privately managed, some that are publicly managed. The elephant in the room, we still haven't decided what to do with the Rickenbacker Marina, which I don't know if you'd consider that a holdover tenant, but they're under a settlement as an extended
Yeah,
lease.
settlement agreement.
We should, at some point, come to some policy decisions about what to do.
I agree. One other thing if you could do for us, because this is part of the equation. Whatever leases we have out there that you haven't brought up because they might be longer than 5 years before they're due, include that in sending that to us, the list of all of them that are waterfront or right by the waterfront, so that one of the questions that Commissioner Russell asked, we could better be in a position to answer. Because there's a lot more clubs out there, yacht clubs or whatever kind of clubs in the waterfront that are not up here because the leases don't run out until much later. In fact, there was one that just before I got elected, they rushed right through so they could give it, I don't know how many decades more. And, you know, this is the kind of stuff that we should put all out so we could all see, the residents could see, just how many private institutions we have out there that are really being subsidized by the residents. Now, you know, you have some that I understand, and I'll give you the name of one, the one right next to the supermarket that we have here in the Grove. You know, they do a lot of good truly for kids. Now, I don't know where some of the other money goes, but there I see a lot of kids, inner city, that go there a lot. I could understand having something like this, but, you know, we're having so many. And then I know that I'm going to see that the vast majority of the people are not city residents. And frankly, not trying to come down on anybody, but when I hear $2,800 initiation fees, not a heck of a lot of people in our city that can afford that. I mean, these are clubs for people that are wealthy. And we shouldn't be subsidizing anything. And we need to put all these waterfront properties to a better use so we could gain recurring revenue and be able to provide more service to our residents and still lower the taxes.
I want to add to what Mr.
Commissioner
Chairman,
Reyes.
to what Commissioner Carollo is saying, that according to this presentation, yeah, definitely we are losing a lot of money. And those funds can be used for the benefit of our residents, that, as you well know. And I believe, and it has been my opinion all along, that we should manage our marinas in-house. Try to manage our marinas in-house and be aware of those leases that they are coming up and decide if we should renew them or we should take over the marinas. And I think that we have to do that for all the marinas, all the marinas, including Rickenbacker. And that was my position when we were discussing who to give it, vote, who should get it. And that was my position there then, and it's my position now. Until I'm proven wrong, I believe that it will be to the benefit of the city of Miami and the residents of the city of Miami that we keep our marinas and we obtain the highest revenues that we're going to have if we just do an RFP and then we have to deal with all of that and we have to provide a 10, 15, 20 years lease. I'm not much of a fan of those kind of leases because when they start going bad and they start going south, we are really, we are chained to those leases. So I think we should give it a try, fellow commissioners. I think we should give it a try. And let's give it a try and see if it works and how can we prosper. I can see here in this summary that even when we incur some capital projects, you see, we can cover those capital projects and also obtain profits, pay for them in the first year and still have, in year one, stabilize it, and in year two, we will be making money. That's from my marina. You see, just use one example. So we can cover, you see, from the additional funds that we're going to receive, which are because of the increase in fees, we will be able to cover the capital improvements required. And also, I would suggest that we might even be able to develop a reserve for any eventuality, anything that happens, that we can immediately cover those additional expenses that in the future will come. That is my position, you see. That is my position. And if you want a resolution, I'm going to move it.
There's been a motion, but I would
Been a motion.
There's a motion to take all of our private marinas public. Is that the motion? To bring them into the city management?
That's right.
But many of them have existing leases that are not in default. How would you-
If the leases are not in default, well, we will keep on going. When the leases do, then we will see it, and we will analyze it.
Got it.
Because being a City of Miami Marina, we can offer even to our residents benefits. You see, we can have different rates for residents of the City of Miami, of non-residents. You see? You understand?
Understood.
We
There
have
is-
the flexibility of doing whatever we want. Okay, and that will be my motion. To
There's a
keep the ones
motion.
that we have-
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion purposes.
Seconded for discussion by Commissioner Diaz-Portilla. I'm personally, I've seen it done well both ways. I think Dinner Key Marina is managed well from a customer service perspective. There's some things on deferred maintenance. You know, we have the new office building, and inside the bathroom, the last time I was in there, there's already rusting and things like that. You know, sometimes, but we manage that marina well, and it does produce a good revenue for us. But then I look at also other cases where the private situation has worked out perfectly. If you look at Monty's Marina, they went through an extension of their lease, they went to the voters, they got insurance money after the hurricane, they had their marinas up and running within a year and a half. They have 2 restaurants and office space and services, and we don't have the liability or headache of dealing with it as a city administration, yet we receive good financial compensation for it, and our residents have a great amenity, and they have customers which are, you know, good voters.
I don't think, I mean, if they're doing that well, we shouldn't be, but we also have cases that it wasn't doing that well.
It's true.
And those are the ones that I think that we should keep and try it. When you talk about restaurants, you see, one big mistake that I think that we did when we are RFPing a project like Rickenbach, we include in those projects, you see, restaurants and everything. And I think that it should be divorced between developing a retail and a restaurant, retail not related to marine, okay? Mm-hmm. And the marine part. The marine part should be marine part. See? What we're doing, we should administer that. If we want to, this will not tie our hands because let's take Rickenbacker, for example. If we want to make a development there, develop the restaurants and retail, we can RFP for that particular activity. And I bet you that what we are going to get, people that are going to answer that RFP, are people that are experts in restaurant management, not people that are expert in marinas management that are now now they are, we're forcing them to go into the restaurant business. You see?
Yeah. I don't want to go into the restaurant business.
Huh?
As a city, I don't want to go into the restaurant
No, I don't want to go there either. But what I'm saying, we can, if we're going to develop that area, we can do it. You see? And I think that's the way it should be. Because that you give more opportunity to everybody that is in that type of business to try to get it, to try to establish themselves there. And you get, let me tell you this. If we're talking about our population, you see, we know a lot of people from different different neighborhoods that they are in restaurant businesses here. But when if they try to establish themselves in that area, and you're tying that area, you see, to a marina, they don't know anything about marinas. So those people, they cannot come and compete for that, with other people, for the possibility of establishing themselves there. You see? And that goes to all kinds, every segment of our society in the city of Miami, would say Cubans, would take Afro-Americans, would say Americans, whatever, that they are in the restaurant businesses. You see? I think that it would be more effective and more efficient if we divorce them and we separate them. And now what we can do, is we separate the marinas, we take care of the marinas, and if we want to develop the surrounding areas and try to make it attractive or try to bring restaurants or try to bring retail there, then we will RFP that so we can get people that are versed, people that are experts in that field to compete for that. That is my opinion. I might be wrong, but I think that it is logical.
What I think that, in as far as restaurants that happen to be in marina properties, we should really look at doing a hybrid. If we're going to put them out for any kind of bid or proposal, I think we should give whoever is going to participate the opportunity to bid, not just in the marina side operations, but also in the restaurant part, with this caveat, that they put out separately what they're offering to us on the restaurant side, and we have the option to accepting both marina operation and restaurant, or if we have a proposal that's higher or better just for the restaurant side, that we should open that up so that people that are just restaurateurs, like you say, could also apply to it. We could have the option of picking one or the other.
Well, that makes sense, but what I want to do is I want to open up the opportunity to people that they have nothing to do with the marina and they want to establish themselves as a good restaurant in a place.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But you're giving the opportunity also to a marina operator to bid on it in a package, but a package that is going to be clear, would be separated, that we could accept or not accept both, and that they have to break down what they're offering on the marina side versus the restaurant side separately. This way, we have the best of all worlds in what we're doing. And now, I think the staff has done the best that they can, but I have a lot of questions that are not answered, nor do I feel the staff can answer. I'm not in a position to vote for one or the other. I think that there has to be a lot more thorough studying on this. In fact, we might have to go to an outside company to really give us numbers from the top professionals that we could get. What we've done in some other projects, that we've had up to 3 companies giving us estimates, has been constructive. I'm not saying that we need to go out for 3 companies for this, but we could get one good company in the field, a Deloitte Touche, for instance, that has professionals in this area, and let them, based upon what we tell them that we want, let them analyze it for us and tell us what we could get out of it based on A, B, and C, and how much someone would have to spend in there, or how much we could get out of it ourselves if we do A, B, and C, and the cost of that. So I'm not ready to vote for any motion, either on putting things out to bid and privatizing, or just keeping everything and we run everything ourselves. I think we need to be open-minded and wise, and we really have to look at the best route that we could go. I've already mentioned a story that I lived one time, that I was painted the story that by keeping a dry dock marina, we were going to make so much more, and in fact, it never came to that in the 20-plus years since. But that doesn't mean that in others, it might not be so. So this is why I would suggest that every one of us thinks this through more, ask questions, and then sit with the manager, sit where our professionals at Dream and the Marine side, and then we could come sometime in the future and decide how we're moving forward in this.
I don't think that bringing a outside consultant goes against what I'm proposing. What I'm proposing is, for the time being, we keep it, and is further analysis is due. You see, it is requested. Then we'll do it. But we have to make a decision one way or the other.
Well,
You
in-
see,
in-
too late. I mean, we cannot leave it like this. I mean, we have to make a decision. And I definitely will accept that we include, that we keep it the way that it is now. We run it. And until we perform an in-depth analysis is performed by a group or a firm that it is an expert in marinas. And when the report is due, then we decide if maybe, yeah, and that is a good idea, because maybe it will be more convenient or more profitable for us to outsource one of the marinas than the other.
Right, so a case-by-case basis.
That's
may be
right, a
appropriate.
case-by-case.
So your original motion, though, was to try to bring all of them to
Absolutely.
the city's management.
What
as they
I'm
come.
saying is, as it is now, what we have now, let's keep it. Let's do it. Let's keep it. And we will, I mean, until an in-depth analysis is made, case-by-case marinas by outside sources and outside consultants, and we will analyze what their recommendation is.
Yeah, I think I'm understanding better your motion. Your motion is that those marinas or waterfront properties that the city is presently managing,
That's right.
that we keep managing in the meantime.
In the meantime, until and if it and it makes sense, you know. Okay, it's nothing against you, Mr. Meadows. I mean, you have done an excellent job. Let me tell you, I congratulate you. I congratulate you, and this is a very, very in-depth analysis what you have made. If you would have been one of my students when I was teaching economics, I would give you an A for it. You see, it is an A study.
You're going overboard now. It's going to go to their heads. And they're going to want to raise.
Okay, no race, no race. Okay, but if we just to, I mean, in case there is any doubt, to clear any doubt, we want to have additional input from outside sources. You see, well, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And I don't know. The only thing that I will request is that any company that it is picked to analyze case by case each of the marinas, that company, it is and has expertise in, marinas accounting and marinas operation.
So
That's
for my
obvious.
part, we've had some, so your resolution is broad-reaching on all the waterfront assets, and most of them are not, the leases aren't up for quite a while. So really, the only one that's imminent, that's on our table right now, is the Rickenbacker. And so I'd say let's just talk about it in that context. Let's talk about what to do with that marina. We have a couple choices. We either try to take it back to the city, which has its legal challenges because the way the settlement is written. Number two would be to RFP again and put it out there and see who applies. Number three might be to find a way to work with the current tenant, if that way exists, from a legal and procedural mechanism. But we should decide something because nobody's able to invest in that property right now until we
Yes.
set that course. And
What
so,
was the amount that you were anticipating making this year in the dry docks in that property, the part that the city runs?
Anticipated approximately about NOI 600,000.
How much?
NOI 600,000, roughly around there.
600,000.
Correct.
And
But
what they
that's
were
a-
paying before that I forced them to have paid it for a time being, and they didn't have use of it, was $1.2 million.
that's the Rickenbacker, not the dry docks.
Yeah, but I'm talking for the dry docks,
For the Marine Stadium Marina?
the dry docks.
Yeah, Marine Stadium Marina. We're expected to, projected around 600,000.
600, but they were paying us before
Two different, he's talking about two different things.
an additional amount that really made up for that. But anyway,
Let me ask you, just one thing that you said, Mr. Chair. Madam City Attorney, what are the legal impediments for the city of Miami to take over Rickenbacker?
You're asking me what is the legal impediment to
Yes.
taking over the marina? Okay, if the marina is going to be run by the city can take it over.
Is what?
If the marina will be run by the city can take it over.
Can take it over, that's what I'm saying.
I-
There's no legal impediment.
My understanding of the wording in the settlement is that
You and I
They-
disagree on the wording of the settlement.
let's put it out there, though, because could you read the wording of the settlement? It has something to do with, until we award to another, they are entrenched.
No. At the time of that settlement, we were in the previous RFP.
Okay,
And that was until we awarded in that previous RFP. That previous RFP was thrown out. We proceeded to do another RFP. Out of the kindness of our heart, we allowed them to stay there while we figured things out. That RFP has now also gone away.
Does
They
the
are not
settlement-
entitled to stay there in perpetuity.
does the settlement expressly state that the award referenced that would kick them off is that RFP versus a future
It was the
award?
RFP. It didn't say a future RFP. It said RFP. That was the present RFP that we were in. Obviously, we're going to litigate this issue, but our interpretation is that the city can do with its property what it wants to. The city can take over this property and run this property. No tenant will tell us what we could do with our own property. Now,
Some
we
tenants have
can't-
legal rights
we
under the
cannot-
terms of a
They're a
lease.
holdover tenant. We cannot technically now use it as a subterfuge, take it away from them and give it to somebody else.
No.
That probably they would say, oh, you never intended to award an RFP. That is not true. But we can take it over and run it ourselves. We are the landowners, we're the landlords, we can run it ourselves.
Got it.
But of course, it will be an issue of litigation.
Yeah, I'd like to study that settlement to really understand our potential exposure. At the end of the day, we need to decide what we would like to do and see if it's achievable.
That's
Tenants
what I
do
wanna
have
do.
rights under their
I wanna-
leases
I
and
wanna-
under settlements.
I
I just
wanna
want to
end
see
this,
that we're
you know?
not violating those rights, that there is a clear path. Because if we're just in litigation for years, we're not going to get anything done either.
Well,
You're recognized.
we've been in litigation for years on many subjects, different issues. I tend to trust, I do trust, I rely on my city attorney to tell me what the legal likelihood that we prevail in such a venture, we undertake such a venture. What's a legal likelihood that we prevail?
With anything, telling you a legal likelihood is always.
That's why I didn't
but-
ask you a percentage,
but-
yeah.
Right, but there's always a 50-50 chance on anything. But
Right.
I do want to say that it is our property, and they are not allowed to stay there in perpetuity. It's just, that's not the arrangement that has been made. There's referendum requirements and all that. So at the end of the day, they can't just stay there. We would have to, there is a referendum. There's a charter.
Madam City Attorney, I think you're correct in your statement that it's our property. That's the bottom line. It's our property, and we have certain rights. Saying that, how many years, if somebody could tell me?
Commissioner, can you get
How
closer?
How many years did we go through 2 requests for proposal? The first one having to be thrown out because it was faulty, and frankly, the second one was faulty too. How many years did we go through that whole process? Does anybody know? Because I
About
wasn't around when it
6 years.
started.
Yeah, about 6 years.
6 years.
Okay, 6 years. And at the end of the day, the amounts that were offered were clear in what we were being offered by both sides. We had people that we put in, or should I say the previous administration put in, and they decided to go for one over the other, but the amounts were pretty much there. As far as I'm concerned, in that area, I've seen what the city has done in 20-plus years in running the dry dock marina next door. We have now shown in over 2 decades that we have done a good job there. I'm going to reserve my feelings on this marina here in Miami Marina because, frankly, I want to look more into it. I think there's a lot of meat that still's on the table that we haven't gotten here. Now, for the life of me, over there, I can't imagine that the guy that's losing money, worse than a drunken sailor, is going to take over the other business for the guy that's making money. It doesn't make sense. There's no logic to it. Instead of waiting another 3 or 4 years for more requests for proposal, a different makeup of the commission and everything else, I will tell you right now, if we get the top money that has been offered by anybody there in all these requests for proposals, whether the first one, the second one, and then some additional money on top of that, I'm willing to let them come in, proffer to this city a proposal, let them go to a referendum, and if the public wants to approve it, so be it. If they want to deny it, so be it. But at least we're going to get a lot more money quicker than having to wait numerous more years.
Okay.
And at the same time, we will get, hopefully if it's approved, substantial investment in that area. But if the public wants to deny it, they have their right to. And by the way, this is no different than numerous projects that we have done and have done recently. This is how the Melreese Golf Course was done, and others.
What would be the mechanism for that?
Well, the mechanism is that if the operators of that marina want to bring this, if they want to do it, bring a proposal to this city commission, they could bring it up, and we could put it up for a referendum for it to be approved up or down.
Madam
So-
City Attorney,
I have
so
a
that would be,
question.
Madam City Attorney, so that would be an unsolicited offer on after
Okay.
which.
That's what it's called, unsolicited offer.
No.
Okay, so then I'm hearing 2 things, so I need to.
The motion on the floor is a completely separate
No,
proposal.
this guy, I didn't make a motion.
Correct. No.
No, motion was- I made the
Commissioner
motion.
Reyes's motion is still on the
discussing.
floor, but
But-
this is a
but-
different item. We're just
but-
feeling it
but-
out.
But this, I mean, we're going to follow the process, you see? That is not the process. Either we go for an RFP, okay? We go for an RFP, and if we go for an RFP, I definitely will prefer that we do an audit and we do, we get some professionals that could guide us on how much, what is the potential of revenues from that and how much can we ask so we can place some parameters in that RFP. You understand? That's something that I would like, and that was what you were referring before, Commissioner Carollo, that you want to know what is the potential. You want to know what is the potential.
So
We can hire
have a question.
somebody, find the potential, and place some parameters, and whatever you can give us on top of that, and let's see what can we, and then we have competition.
The difference is that in all the others that we're discussing here, this is the first time they've been up for discussion. There's no parameters. And this other one, for over 6 years, we've had parameters, we've had people looking at it, and we still keep going around and around and around.
But Joe, people, I mean, I went and with all due respect of people that really analyzed and they were the one that evaluated those RFPs, none of them had any type of expertise in marinas. None of them. I mean, look at it. I went one by one. None of them had expertise. What I'm saying is we should get some professional guidance, and then let's go for an RFP. Because that way we're not violating the process unless somebody comes with an unsolicited proposal. They go through the route, because Mary's didn't do that. They go through the route, they deposit money with the city clerk, you see? Because there's a route that you do when you have a solicited proposal. That we didn't do it and they didn't do it, and that was one of my arguments. But anybody is welcome to do an unsolicited proposal. Follow the steps that you have to follow, and then come to us. And then we could say, okay, but we want this much, we want this, we want that.
Those steps have failed, and it's lost us 6 years on this asset.
I mean, that way, listen, it is ridiculous. And you know one thing that I am afraid is, that doesn't matter what we do, we're going to be challenged in court.
You recognize Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla.
Thank you. Madam Attorney, if we take this marina back, does anything preclude us from following, instituting a process, a regular RFP process Commissioner Reyes spoke about moving forward after we take it back?
No.
Are they mutually exclusive?
No.
So we can, including the current operator, can come and compete whatever process we decide as a commission moving forward. But we can take it back hypothetically, own it, 'cause it's our land, as you say, and then we can establish a process, RFP process, or there could be an unsolicited bid could come in, whatever happens, including from the current operator or any other operators. It should just be a regular competitive process. But taking it back doesn't preclude us from doing any of those things moving forward. Is that correct?
Right. So taking the property back and then the city figuring out what it's going to do in the future is an option.
Okay.
Madam City Attorney, one question that I want to, if we go into an RFP after denying the previous RFP, we go into an RFP again, or we go into an unsolicited proposal, are we opening ourselves into litigation from the company that was the winner of that RFP, and we voted against giving it to anybody?
No, if you're going to go through a regular RFP process, that there's no situation with
Because
that.
it was my understanding from before that if we did that, we went that route. We said, well, we're not going to do anything.
Well,
Okay.
what has happened, right, so what has happened since that RFP is gone.
Okay.
It's gone, you decided to not award it to anyone. So that RFP is done with, and now you are deciding as the body to figure out what you're gonna do next with that asset. So whether you want to take it back, keep it for a while, figure out what you're gonna do, that's one option.
Well, that was...
But which is the one that you had described.
That was my understanding, is that we should take it, keep it for a while, and then RFP
Right,
it
and figure
in
out
order
what
to
you're-
avoid litigation from the other company.
In order to figure out what you are going to do with the asset. But I just want to be clear because there's a lot of different ideas going, and I just want to make sure that you know the different ideas. So one thing you could do is definitely an RFP. You're always entitled to do an RFP. Another thing you could do is an unsolicited proposal. That is always an option as well. And then the other thing that I think was getting conflated with the unsolicited proposal is what you have done in the past with the Rusty Pelican and the Dade Heritage Trust and those things, which is a charter carve-out. And that is a separate and apart from an unsolicited proposal. So I want to make sure that you know all the different options that you can do with any type of property, but so...
also, can we take over and hire a management company?
So the management company is a little different because it depends if you hire the management company as a revocable type license that you can end at any time, that shouldn't be a problem.
In order of continuity, that we have somebody there that can keep the marina going. Can we, that depends if they will accept it or not, can we take it over, hire the actual administrators, the management company, people that are there, as a management company, while we either place this in an RFP, or they can, whoever wants come in with a solicited proposal. Can we do that?
Hire the present people that are there as a management company?
Yes, we can do that.
I
I don't know if they will accept it. I'm just throwing
I need
ideas.
I would need to just think about that a little further. I don't have that answer
Okay.
for you right now.
Okay,
Well, I'm going to be very clear what I'm not going to be voting in favor of. I will not vote in favor of to bring a management team, which is the city's, to run the dry dock portion of that marina, and for that matter, the wet slip portion of that marina, where they have clearly stated to me that even in their best estimates, which might be high, they're going to make for us half of what this other people have made or have been willing to pay us for our dry dock portion. That doesn't make sense to me
no,
whatsoever.
let me explain a little bit slower, because it might be confusing. What I'm saying is, I'm just throwing ideas. I'm not saying that, in order to make.
We're going to lose money. That's what I'm
No,
saying.
no. But we're making money with the people that are managing now. But they will be.
More.
No, they
than
will
we
be.
would.
They will be the management company. They will be not somebody else. They will keep managing until we decide what's going on. Until it goes into an RFP, or we decide to take it over, or we are an unsolicited proposal. The way that it should be done, you see, they can come in with an unsolicited proposal and take all the steps of an unsolicited proposal. You see?
Well, can we do this, sir? Because you have a valid question. The city attorney says she's got to study it more.
Okay, let's wait until she comes on.
Let it bring it back.
Yeah, fine.
Have her study it, give you the information, all of us,
Okay.
and we
Okay,
take it
let's
up
do
then.
that.
All right, so is there a withdrawal of the motion?
I withdraw the motion.
Motion
But
withdrawn.
I just want to finalize this, because since the day that I was sworn in, we've been kicking this can all over the place.
Agreed.
And it's about time that we finish this. It's about
Agreed.
time. Whatever
That we
decision
agree on.
we're gonna make, whatever decision we're gonna make, it's about time that we,
Got it.
because we've been kicking this can all over.
All right. Is there any action to be taken on the discussion item?
None?
I have one last item, just as a direction to the management, please. In the Coconut Grove section, and there's several marinas we didn't bring up in this analysis, the ones that hold the current leases, Grove Bay, Grove Harbor, everything from here to Monty's, basically. Waterfront access on the Baywalk has been completely disrupted by the construction, and residents would like to know when that can open. So do we have a projected date for when there will be waterfront access on the Baywalk from here to that point?
It should be late this fall, 2021, the reconstruction of Dinner Key.
All will be open this,
Yeah,
after
the
the summer.
reconstruction of Dinner Key Marina should be done.
Got
and
it.
for-
And the gate that's between, right next to Monty's and Grove Harbor has been closed during the day. Is there a reason for that? Residents are asking why that's.
I do not know. I do not
So within
know.
their lease, they're supposed to keep the Baywalk open during business hours, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, I'd like to
But
see
I
if
do
we
not
can
know
get that
why they have
enforced.
it closed. I can
All
look
right.
into that for you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on any of the items? All right, everyone, thank you very much. We are
Thanks to
adjourned.
you, guys. Thank you very
Adjourned.
much.